What if I told you that the most powerful object in the world isn't a crown, a sword, or a scepter? It's something you likely have in your wallet right now. A simple piece of paper. This is the story of how humanity traded the weight of solid gold, a metal cherished for millennia, for a promise printed on paper. It's a tale of trust, power, and the greatest financial gamble in history, a gamble that has reshaped our world, built empires, and now holds the entire global economy in its hands. How did we let something so intrinsically worthless become the master of everything? For most of human history, value was something you could hold. It was tangible. Gold, with its untarnishable shine and rarity, was the ultimate standard. From the pharaohs of Egypt burying it with their dead, to the Spanish conquistadors sailing across oceans for it, gold was the universal language of wealth. It wasn't just money. It was security, power, and a direct link to the divine. Societies rose and fell based on their access to it. If you wanted to buy land, fund an army, or build a cathedral, you needed heavy chests filled with gold coins. Your wealth was as real as the metal you possessed. This was the world before the Great Shift, a world grounded in physical reality, where a promise was only as good as the gold that backed it up. The seeds of change were sown in ancient China, but our modern story begins in the 17th century with European goldsmiths. People would deposit their heavy gold coins with these trusted craftsmen for safekeeping. In return, the goldsmith would issue a paper receipt, a note, promising to return the gold on demand. Soon, people realized it was far easier to trade these paper receipts than to lug around heavy bags of coins. The paper started to circulate as if it were the gold itself. This was the birth of the banknote. For example, a merchant in London could buy goods from a farmer, not with gold, but with a piece of paper from a well-known goldsmith. The farmer accepted it, trusting he could redeem it for gold whenever he wished. The lesson learned was profound. The promise of value could be as powerful as the value itself, as long as trust remained absolute. The real twist came when governments realized the immense power they could wield with this system. They took over the printing of money, creating central banks. For a long time, this paper money was still tied to gold under what was called the gold standard. A country could only print as much money as it had gold in its vaults. But wars and economic crises created an insatiable need for more funds. The temptation was too great. The big moment came in 1971. The United States, facing massive debts from the Vietnam War and social spending, made a shocking announcement to the world. President Nixon declared that the US dollar would no longer be convertible to gold. In an instant, the anchor that had tied money to a physical asset for centuries was cut. The entire global financial system was suddenly floating on a sea of faith alone. Paper money, now known as fiat currency, was valuable simply because the government said it was. This single decision unleashed the modern world as we know it. Without the constraint of gold, governments could print money to stimulate economies, fund massive projects, and respond to crises. This led to unprecedented economic growth, technological innovation, and a globalized financial system where trillions of dollars could move across the world in seconds. But it also came with a heavy price. The value of our money is no longer tied to anything tangible. It's based on trust in institutions, political stability, and economic policies. When that trust wavers, we see inflation erode our savings, and economic bubbles form and burst with devastating consequences. We exchange the simple certainty of gold for a complex, fragile, and endlessly manipulated system. The paper in our pockets is a symbol of both incredible prosperity and immense vulnerability. So, the next time you hold a banknote, remember its incredible journey. It is a relic of a grand historical experiment, a testament to the power of collective belief. This seemingly worthless piece of paper triumphed over gold not through force, but through a revolutionary idea, that the promise of value can be more powerful than value itself. From a goldsmith's simple receipt to the engine of the global economy, its story is a mirror reflecting our own capacity for trust, innovation, and risk. The echoes of that 1971 decision still shape every purchase we make and every dream we chase.